What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. I hope you had a great weekend. We had a lot of stuff that actually happened over the weekend. We watched the live stream for Monster Hunter, found out a bunch of information about the Switch version, which did a whole video on that. Then we also went ahead and went back in time and checked out a previous E3 with Nintendo in 2004. If you did not see that, I checked that out as well. Also, today is Memorial Day, so anyone in the United States, I hope you're having a lot of fun today. Go out, do some barbecuing later on, and just be careful if you're shooting off fireworks like my neighbors seem to. Let's get right into it today, guys. And guys, you honestly surprised me a little bit with the results for the poll, for the thumbnail and everything. We went ahead and I guess went with Switch upping production. Well, I was hoping a little bit you guys were going to go with GameStop because I had a pretty good thumbnail in mind for that, but I'm going with you guys on this one. And you know what? Let's just start with that news. It looks like Nintendo is once again talking about upping production again. Remember how we talked about it before where they were going to up production at first because the demand is so high for the system right now, and they figure might as well strike while the iron's hot. Looks like they're doing it again. Now, of course, the original reports before was that the Wall Street Journal was saying that they were going to up production and get at least 16 million consoles out of this fiscal year, which would place it before or like right where March 2018 is, somewhere in there before the end of March, because remember the quarterly reports come out later on the following month in April. And in this case, it's been reported that they would get to 18 million units now instead, so they'd be tacking on another 2 million. Apparently, the reasoning for this is they've cited customer tantrums, people reporting this. And that's interesting that Nintendo would be worried about tantrums in stores with systems. Really, they should just be worried about selling more. I don't know why you would have to worry about people possibly fighting it out in a store over a toy. That seems more like their issue that they should resolve even away from the store, maybe with some help. But that's their concern here. Really, they should just say, hey, we can make more money. Let's produce more. That's all I really need to say. Now, on the other side, because this is still rumored, Nintendo has denied any of this about boosting production to that level where they're saying, oh, we're definitely not going to do 18 million units. And they still have their target set at 10 million units. That's a little tough because they can say that to the end of time and then, oh, look, guys, we managed to produce way more. So everything's cool, right? And yeah, that is a good strategy. You know, come in with expectations that are realistic and then surprise with amazing results if you can do it. Now, analysts are pretty much driving home the fact that Nintendo probably is going to produce twice that 10 million units even. So they are saying that it could get upwards of 20 million Switch units available this fiscal year. And, I mean, at this point, depending on what their E3 looks like, why not? Produce as many as you can. Now, there are still those rumors of a Super Nintendo Classic out there, which would kind of maybe gum up the works in production. Same with things like the 2DS XL. And, of course, their 3DS wagon keeps kind of trucking along with Monster Hunter Double Cross being cross-play between 3DS and Switch. So they're definitely on the wagon for that. And who knows, maybe if Pokemon is announced for the Switch, that is also cross-play, in which case they'll just keep producing 3DS at a decent rate. I mean, really, people need to remember Nintendo, if they do have a Super Nintendo Classic, a 3DS XL, 2DS XL, and the Switch would be producing more systems than any other company right now. Yes, Sony is producing the VR unit, and then Microsoft will be producing an Xbox One and a Scorpio, but they wouldn't be doing all the stuff Nintendo is doing with a handheld and what they call a home console, and then an interesting Super Nintendo Classic over here. There's a lot of stuff happening here on Nintendo's side. It's hard to say where they will land with their production, but if at this point Nintendo really can sell that many, and it just comes down to how much factory space they can get and how many man hours they can put into this to get these things out. And guys, over the weekend we had a lot of fun with the ARMS test punch. We played quite a bit, actually. I played a bunch of it, and it was a lot of fun. And now we're to the point where we're trying to figure out different things about the game that we like and ones we don't like, because there's kind of positives and negatives to every beta, essentially. I mean, this is really what this is a beta. Now, press, they do have the full version, so they are playing it now. They're all under embargo, so they can't say anything about it. But looking at the game, it's a lot of fun. I think there's a few aspects that I would need to put it over the top. Like when I'm playing volleyball, for example, I don't feel the strategy that you should feel in a game like that. I think voice chat is heavily needed in that game because you need to tell the other person, I got it. You know, even if you have a button that you press that literally just says, I got it, that would at least help me tell the person next to me, hey, don't punch and get hung up while I punch, and then the ball just hits the ground and we lose. At that point, I think that's a game that does need voice chat, but I could get by with a little button press. I also think things like maybe grabs do a little too much damage. That seems like it's an easy balance. I mean, it is It's not the hardest thing to stop a grab because, seriously, if you just punch a grab, it gets knocked down, and you get a free shot at him pretty much. But really, right now, we're all still getting used to the game. These are just nitpicks that a lot of people are putting out there. Maybe they think Mummy is too overpowered because he does a lot of damage. He's slow, though, so if you use, like, Ribbon Girl and you get the hang of her, you can get around him real easy. You can pretty much beat him up without too much issue if you know what you're doing. Disconnects were fine. I got disconnected twice. That was it. 2 times is fine. I did lose all of my currency though, the little dollar things they were giving you. I got kicked out when I had like 20 of them. I lose all of them. So I go back to 0 in the middle of the test punch, which was kind of annoying, but it was 2 disconnects, you know, with that kind of server load, which I don't think was bad. But yeah, guys, I'm curious what you think about ARMS. Just let me know down in the comments something you like and something you would like to change. Just either one, even if it's that left stick guard, which I think makes sense because it keeps you from moving. Seriously, one thing you like, one thing you'd like to change. And guys, the next bit of news has to do with the the ever-delayed Kingdom Hearts 3 and the what appears to be on the same track Final Fantasy VII Remake. In an outline of what's to come for Square Enix in their financial briefings, they told us that apparently both of those will be released in the next 3 years or so. And this was said by Square Enix president and CEO Yosuke Matsuda, and that really, I think really hurt people badly. You know, it hit them deep down because a lot of people were really hoping that Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 would find their way out back to back. You know, maybe at the end of this year we'd get the first episode part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 would follow up latest next year, holiday season 2018. And that's still a possibility because all they said was in the next 3 years. That doesn't mean that it's going to be 3 years from now, just sometime in the next 3 years. What that tells me, though, is that there is no release date on the table for either of these right now, which is not good for a 2017 release for either of them. I think the scary thing here, or at least the sad thing, is Kingdom Hearts 3 might miss a second console generation. Yes, guys, it released on the PS2, Kingdom Hearts 2, released on the PS2 system a month after the 360 came out. It missed the entire 360 and PS3 cycle, and it's coming up on being released at the end of the PS4 and the Xbox One cycle, because let's face it, by 2020, the PS5 and the Xbox 2, I guess, will be in heavy discussion, rumored, and will probably be shown that E3, more than likely to build for a holiday release, or the following. I mean, Nintendo has shown that you can launch a console February, March, and it works fine. So yes, guys, I'm sorry, Kingdom Hearts fans, Final Fantasy fans, we might be waiting a while, and it hurts, I know, but at least it's coming. At least they didn't say, hey, it's canceled, let's go put it next to Scalebound, so there's that. Also, the other good thing to kind of hang your hat on is to realize that Final Fantasy VII Remake does not have to be completely finished for them to release the first episode. They can get the first episode done, release it, and then we wait, you know, another half a year, maybe a year for the second episode, so there's at least that. We don't have to wait for a fully finished Final Fantasy VII, much like we have to wait for a fully finished Kingdom Hearts 3. Next bit of news has to do with Splatoon 2 and Nintendo voice chat. And it's an interesting topic here because a lot of people are still confused as to what is going on with voice chat, what is going on with this mobile app, and how is it all going to work and benefit us exactly. So in the latest edition of UK gaming publication Games TM, they had a discussion and an interview with the Splatoon 2 developers, and they kind of talked about how lobby and voice chat would work exactly with Splatoon 2, and yes, they were talking about using a mobile device like a phone to make that happen. And guys, this is a quote from that publication. This is what they had to say about it. There's no need for concern. The reason we included voice chat is because we wanted users who already know each other to enjoy the game more deeply using a communication tool that's linked to the game. Voice chat can only be used when playing with someone you know, such as in private matchmaking. Voice chat with someone you don't know in random matchmaking won't happen. And this, honestly, is a little head-scratching here. Now, there's a couple ways you can look at this. You can say, wow, this is a good idea. I don't have to deal with trolls. That's true. But how exactly do you make friends in the game if you go in by yourself? You can't talk to people. You pretty much have to friend them, put them in your party, and go. So realistically, if you just decide to join up and 4 strangers join up, you're not going to be voice chatting or strategizing or doing anything like that from what they are saying. So we're going to have to see with this voice chat. But right now, I'm a little concerned, because if you can't chat with people randomly who you join with, set up a team, and then maybe at that point realize that they would be good to have on your team and bring them in. I mean, that's how, honestly, back with Halo 2, Halo 3, that's how I built a friends list online. I actually would play, you end up talking to them, you could pretty much decide, this person is just, joking around in the game. They're not trying to actually win. Maybe they're too loud, their microphone's too loud or something, you don't want to deal with that. Or maybe they're just straight up trolls. But if they're good at the game and you can't talk to them and you invite them in, then it's a problem. Because keep in mind, if you can randomly talk to people, just include a mute button. Like, just make it so you can mute whoever you want. It seems like they're trying to protect maybe like kids that are online. They don't want them randomly talking to strangers. But it's not Nintendo's job to police that. It's seriously, it's the parents' job. Either way, hopefully at E3, Nintendo does come out and at least tell us what this entire online application will be. I will reserve judgment until they roll it out on a red carpet and show us. And at that point, we can decide if it's any good. And guys, there's another game that's coming out that kind of has flown under the radar a little bit. It's almost like it's an indie game called Golf Story that's coming to the Switch, and it looks pretty interesting. So I'll show you some of the trailer here, and really this is pretty cool. It kind of looks like, almost like a Stardew Valley, like visual style with golf involved, and it looks like something that I really like because I enjoy, this is going to sound a little odd, I enjoy the golf games that are more like kind of an RPG setup where you upgrade everything that you have, you upgrade skill points, you kind of play through it in more of like an adventure style setting, and that's what this looks like. It's coming this summer, 2017 is what they've said, to the Switch, and it looks fun. I can't imagine it's going to be very expensive either, to be honest, and really this is games developer, like I said, Sidebar, and they are just, it just looks fun. I mean, you're racing, you're mowing like grass, I guess, on the golf, maybe to earn money and stuff, and then you're flying drones. I don't know, it looks interesting, it looks different, and like I said, I really enjoy things like Hot Shots Golf. I liked the older, there was like an older Mario Golf game on the Game Boy that was like an RPG style setup in an adventure mode. It was fun. I'll keep an eye on this. I just wanted to bring it to anyone's attention who might be interested in it. And guys, the last bit of news has to do with our favorite retailer, and I say that sarcastically to a point. I think a lot of us want to like GameStop, but of course, most of us have had bad experiences at some point with them, so we're kind of watching them die almost a slow death. And really what happened was they were hoping, I think, that the Switch would really help them in this first quarter, and they released numbers that exceeded expectations for gross revenue, which is good, but then they also start getting into kind of the nitty-gritty that they tried to kind of hide, and it's not good. It looks like things like used game sales are down. In fact, all software sales were down for GameStop, despite things like Zelda and Mario Kart being out. Doesn't matter. Their sales overall as a company are down. 2 or 3 games like that on the Switch that have a ton of interest, even like Horizon Zero Dawn, that's not going to help you in the long run, because what GameStop really wants to do is get trade-ins and then resell them. That's their bread and butter. That's where they make their money. New game sales, console sales. So when the Switch came out and new games came out, they don't make them a lot of money, if anything. Really, sometimes on consoles, you lose money as a company. They do that to bring you in. They'll make money on the accessories. That makes sense. Not so much on anything else about a new system. They need those used games, and I can tell you now, Switch games probably aren't getting traded in much right now. Maybe one of you guys who have gone to GameStop have seen a few used Switch games, but I doubt it. And despite showing this jump in revenue due to the Switch with new stuff, once they show that their used game sales were down, investors, they see through that. Investors really scrutinize these reports, guys, and it was pretty clear to them that GameStop might be in a little bit of trouble here, and their stock is down about 6%, which is actually a lot to happen in after-hours trading out of nowhere. And this marks a drop of 17% since last year for GameStop stock. And what's happened now is, because they've tried to transform more into selling things like backpacks and geek apparel. Seriously, go into your local GameStop, if you're trying to buy anything, just look around. Look at what half of that store has turned into. They're not selling as many games, and about half of the entire store has turned into selling things like Pokemon cards, Magic cards, Pokeball backpacks, everything else but games. It's very odd. And that's because they realize the game market is dying for physical retail stores with digital games. And they've said it themselves, these investors are not at all convinced that GameStop has a long-term fix figured out. So they're trying to get out of it now. Unfortunately, guys, expect a serious slow death of GameStop here. It'll probably take years, but it's happening. It's on its way down, and soon enough, you'll just be able to buy games at places like Walmart and Best Buy, although Best Buy is pretty cheap, so it might not be a bad thing. That's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about anything we talked about today, whether it is Nintendo ramping up their production. Maybe you're excited to see what they can actually push out, and I don't know if I would get too, I don't know if I jump on the bandwagon of them producing that many, because that is a tall task in the first year. Keep in mind, the Wii really didn't hit its stride till the second year, more than likely when they got the production phase down and everything was figured out across the board after the first year, and then they produced 24 million Wiis in its second year. That's more than likely when the Switch will really push production out the door. Let me know what you think about ARM's Test Punch. I'm sure a lot of you guys had fun, but I'm curious what you think could get better about the game, because trust me, guys, they want feedback on how they can make the game better. They don't want you to just tell them it's amazing and great, and then it gets out there and it gets bad review scores because there was something that could have just been, honestly, fixed in an update. So I would at least put some kind of feedback out there they can use. Keep it constructive. Don't just say the game's terrible. Don't do that. Let me know what you think about this voice chat thing going on with Splatoon 2, and maybe you do like Golf Story. I'm curious what you guys think about that. That's it for now, guys. I will see you next time.